What is the most ethical career path that you can choose? Can it be possible that a career in consulting or banking is more ethical than a career as a medical doctor? So these are the questions that I'd like to investigate with you today. To clearly say this in the beginning, of course, I am aware that the proposition of this video might be a little bit controversial. The main purpose for me why I created this video is also more to just introduce you to this line of thinking and hopefully inspire some of you to think more about how you can turn your career into a force for good. This is more important to me than arguing what exactly the most ethical career paths are. I graduated with a Bachelor of Philosophy in my undergrad. I focused a lot on ethics, meta-ethics and political philosophy. And here I thought that this might be a great topic. It draws from an area of philosophy that is called the ethics of career choice, that investigates exactly these questions. So let's start this video with a little thought experiment. This one got popularized by Peter Singer, a quite well-known contemporary philosopher. He started his career at Oxford and now is a professor at Princeton. And he describes the following scenario. So let's imagine you're on your way to work, and on this way there is a pond, and you see in the pond that there is a kid, and the kid is screaming for help. The kid seems to be about to drown, and you are a good swimmer. You would be able to just jump in and likely pull the kid out of the pond and thereby likely save that kid's life. But would you do it? Because if you do it, you would come late to work, you're wearing a fancy tailor-made suit, the pond looks a bit dirty, so likely you will need to throw away the suit. This will have cost you several $1,000. And after all, it's not your kid, it's not your fault that the kid is in the pond. You have nothing to do with it. So think about this for yourself. Would you jump in, save the kid, even though this leads to damages of your clothes of a couple of $1,000s? And indeed, lots of research has been conducted exactly on this thought experiment, and I think it's no surprise that the big majority of all the people confronted with this situation said, yes, of course I would save the kid. Of course I wouldn't care if I damaged my clothes. Many people would find it outlandish that anyone would just consider not doing that, consider not saving the kid in such a situation. Though if we hold this to be true, how is this consistent with the fact that every day people die from hunger, thirst, curable illnesses and other consequences of extreme poverty, where it's just the fact that the majority of people don't do anything about. And here, where it would be possible, just with small sums, a couple of $100, a couple of $1,000, you could save these people, you could save these people's life. So this is a contradiction, right, that you are facing. On the one hand, in this first scenario, you would absolutely go for it, do it. On the other scenario, most of us apparently do not seem to be willing to save these people's lives, even though we would be able to have an impact. So now you might ask yourself, well, that's interesting and all, but what the heck does this have to do with ethics of career choice, with whether a consulting career is ethical or not? And so before we dive into this, let's pause this for a moment and rather agree on some terms and definitions. Because of course, one of the key questions to answer is, what do we even mean by that? What is an ethical career choice after all? And so for this video, I'm adopting a consequentialist view, which says something like an ethical career choice leads to a career path that enables you to influence the world in a positive way, i.e. to have positive consequences in the world. And surely, while of course different types of consequences exist, I'd say, just to simplify it a little bit, a good proxy would be to save lives, or at least significantly improve the living conditions of other people. And so in my view, while surely you might come up with other aspects that would inform this, I'd say it's really difficult to argue that if a career leads to positive consequences like this, it would not be considered an ethical career path. Now the next question might be how we assess whether a career indeed has these positive consequences or not. And I want to propose the standard of counterfactual reasoning. And what this means is that to assess the consequences of your actions in your career path, you should compare the state of the world if you would pursue the career with the state of the world if you would not pursue the career. And the delta of these two situations, these two states, this is the impact of your actions, the impact of the career that you choose. Now, following these standards, what are the best career paths that you should pursue to live an ethical life following this definition. And here one fact that I find to be quite powerful is that the average person works about 80,000 hours in his or her life. 80,000 hours. That's a very significant part of your life indeed. So surely we should make sure that these 80,000 hours matter. And there's one quite popular website in this field called 80,000hours.org that compares different career paths exactly by these moral ethical standards. So let's investigate different archetypes of career paths for their ethical merits. So let's start with the direct benefactors. These are careers that positively impact other people in a positive way. A good example would be a medical doctor. Next are the influencers. These are the people that motivate and inspire other people to do good. People who want to spread the ideas of effective altruism, which is the name of the movement. And many of the ideas I'm sharing here today are drawn from. And of course, these people can have a great impact as they multiply the ideas, and then many other people do good, hopefully due to their instigation. Next are researchers, so people doing research in relevant fields that improve the living conditions of many people around the world. An example would surely be research on renewable energies. Last but not least, the high earners. And these are surely people working in consulting, working in banking, in professional services in general. So people who dedicated their life to working careers that enables them to earn more than most other people around them. And then of course the idea is that these people then can use these funds to donate to organizations who do improve the world in a better way. So now, while in principle all these careers can do good, let's add the additional standard of counterfactual reasoning. This one says that to assess your impact, you need to envision the world if you would not pursue this career with the world in which you do pursue this career. Let's look into the example of a medical doctor. At least in Western countries, there are many more people who'd like to become an MD compared to the people who actually can study the subject of medicine and have the chance to do so. So if you are not pursuing the career of an MD, there will be someone else filling your spot. And your counterfactual contribution, your counterfactual impact will only be the extent to which you are better than the next best candidate on the list who would have filled your spot. And of course, it's quite difficult to argue that this impact is very significant after all. So let's contrast that with a career in banking or in finance, because here surely the vast majority of people, that's just a fact, do not donate a significant amount of their salary every month, every year. So if you are pursuing this career and potentially are able to replace the next best candidate who very likely will not have done that, and you are a person who would be willing to donate only 10-20% of your net income to some charitable causes, this data suddenly can be quite significant and you will have a real impact also by this counterfactual standard. So this is the line of reasoning that some people employ to claim that their career in investment banking can be more ethical than, for instance, a career as an MD. Of course, the caveat to that is that surely also as an MD, at least in many different fields, you will earn a significant amount of money as well. And then of course you have the opportunity by the fact that you become a high earner as well to upgrade your impact that you can have on the world also by this counterfactual standard. So let's see how the team from 80,000hours.org sees this, because they really investigate all types of different career paths. In their summary, their main conclusion is that they identified these 5 career paths that from their perspective are the most ethical, most impactful ones. So what you can see here as well is that becoming an MD did not really make the list, but instead they're talking about government and policy in an area relevant to a top problem. This would be one of their top 5 choices. Or organization building at effective non-profits. So leading, building up these charities that really do good in the world. Third, research in relevant areas. We just talked about this. Fourth, applying an unusual skill to a needed niche. So this is to the point of you having a very specific, very special talent that you can apply to really create something good. And then number 5, earning to give. So this is of course exactly what we just talked about. Pursuing a high earner career indeed can be one of the most impactful things that you can do. So then indeed they write about, so what's the best way to earn to give? So here look for some options where you have a great fit. Make sure it is a high earning path with a good outlook. It offers flexible career capitals that you're not locked in, but can potentially also transition in other fields. And of course it doesn't cause harm. So let's talk about this in a moment as well, because of course I know that this is a common prejudice against consulting or banking, that they do cause lots of harm indeed. So which jobs are highest paying? So here they talk about jobs in finance, management, medicine from the perspective of being a high earner, law, real estate and so on. And then they go on by talking about what the best options overall are to earn to give. And as you can see here, management consulting did make the list. But let's now briefly talk about the point of not causing harm. And this is also a question that they addressed on their side. And just now to quote them, they say, but don't many high earning jobs cause harm? Well, you of course don't recommend taking a job that does a lot of harm in order to donate the money. In practice, most people who earn to give work in the fields of technology, asset management, medicine or consulting, and we think that these positions do a small amount of good or are neutral. For instance, many financial traders make profits at the expense of other traders, so they are moving money around, mostly from rich people to other rich people. And then of course, there are some people who cause harm in this industry, but that's true of any industry. And frankly, this is also my experience, so I am of course also aware of some of the news reports of some consulting firms who allegedly did things which really of course are outrageous. And surely if you're part of any of these projects, any of these schemes, you are definitely doing harm. While these things apparently do happen, and of course everyone should work hard on avoiding situations where these things might arise, I frankly think it's a bit unfair to claim that if you work in professional services or in consulting, you will regularly be exposed or even an active part on any of these type of situations. So assuming you followed the argument until here, did make the choice to pursue a high earning career path with the intention to give back, to donate some of the money. Where the question is, well, what shall I do with the money? And here you might be surprised what impact you already can have with rather modest sums. And there are different internet sites comparing organizations and causes that you can donate to. One of the, as far as I know, quite popular websites in this area is givewell.org. There they list a couple of causes which from their perspective have a very high ROI. Of course, I cannot personally endorse any of these organizations here. As always, please do your own research before you decide to give money to any of these organizations. You could donate to malaria medicine. So apparently for $7, you would be able to protect a child from malaria, which would lead to one saved life for an average every $4,500 that you donate. Or another example, vitamin supplements. So for $1, you can deliver a vitamin A supplement, which on average leads to a saved life for every $3,000 that you donate. Or here last on the list, the deworming treatments. So for about $1, you are able to deworm a child, cure the child from these parasites. While these parasites might not be life-threatening, they significantly decrease the quality of life of these people and often also significantly impact the earnings potential of these people in the future in a negative way. So if these conditions go uncured, this often means a life in extreme poverty for the affected people, and these people could be helped for just $1 for a deworming treatment. But I would of course be interested in your perspective as well. What is the most ethical career path in your opinion? Do you agree with the arguments laid out in this video? Happy to have a conversation with you about exactly this. If you took any value out of this video at all, as always, please destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to stay up to date on future content on this channel. Big thanks to all the members of the channel. Thanks for your contribution. My name is Heinrich. I release weekly videos on how to become successful in the first years of your career. So stay tuned, see you again next week, and bye bye.